sassy mood.
You better hurry up, please.
Hello, my name is Corey and welcome to Vimoye, a people-led movement to build Africa, and this is Triggered, where we react to information coming from the continent together. Okay, let's go. So this week, George Floyd has been all over the news, and I'm sure we've all seen the videos. I'm not going to show the video, and we are all appalled and upset by the current situation that is happening in the States. And I found it particularly interesting that while the Black people in America, the Black people in the UK and in many parts of the world have been shouting from the rooftops about the injustice that is happening under our noses, the current situation with regards to George Floyd doesn't seem to have had the same effect on the continent. And it got me thinking, like, why is it that it appears that the continent with the most amount of Black people is the most silent about this situation? And before you start shouting,
what was the reason?
I want us to think for a second why that could be the case. The reality is, police brutality is nothing new to the average African living on the continent. It's an everyday reality for many people. And in fact, during this COVID-19 situation, the amount of police brutality that the citizens have been subjected to has increased. It has gone through the roof. I do know that at some point in Nigeria, the number of people who had died at the hands of the police was more than the number of people who had died from COVID-19. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. The people who are supposed to be our protectors are the people that are inflicting the most amount of pain upon the citizens. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. In addition to that, Africans have been complaining about the treatment of Black people in China. So we heard a couple of weeks ago, maybe about a month or two ago now, that Africans were being subjected to really unbearable, unacceptable treatment in China. And that has been the end of that. Not much has really happened. I read a comment from an African on the continent who had seen what was going on in America. And the first thing they said was, I wish the world would bring this kind of energy to the events that are occurring, the brutality that's happening, the evil that's being perpetuated on the continent. I hope that this current situation highlights the injustices that is happening all around the world to Black people. I really, really want Africans on the continent to engage in this conversation. If we come together and say, okay, cool, we're going to focus on stopping this happening in America, then we can focus on stopping it in the UK. We can focus on it stopping in China. We can focus on, because at the end of the day, we are all Africans. We are all from the continent. And so what is happening to Africans home and abroad should be of paramount importance to all of us, so that when a situation arises again in Africa, we can point to the fact that Africans on the continent showed solidarity. They joined in the fight for freedom of Black people in America. We need each other to be in each other's corner to be able to make change. There's no way we can all make change by ourselves. It's not possible. Well, you could try and let me know how it goes, but like, if Africans want to have a leg to stand on when they bring a problem to the forefront, when they bring a problem to the world stage, they need to have been present in the fight against the injustices that befall other Black people that are not on the continent. Those of us in the diaspora can engage our African cousins and family members and friends and show them that this should be important to them. Imagine if the continent got behind this. You wouldn't be able to ignore us. You just wouldn't. There is power in the people, in citizens coming together. So let's do this. Let's make this happen. But yes, when this is over, I hope we bring the same energy to African problems. The story here is that the Namibian president, Hage Geingob, threw a party during his country's lockdown and has now decided that it wasn't a good idea and has fined all the people who attended said party. So, the president throws a party during lockdown. If you got the invite, would you not go? I don't really understand. I feel like if your president, if the leader of your country throws a party and you got invited, when you'd go, innit? You'd be like, this must be the exception. That's what I'll think, innit? I'll say, oh, it's the exception. Because he's the one who made the rules. I would be like, oh, okay, cool. I ain't gonna say no to the president. He just invited me to a party. Can you imagine replying to the president saying, I can't come because it's lockdown, huh? So these people who unfortunately decided to go to the party are now being fined for a party that the commander-in-chief of your country invited you to. Huh? To give a little bit of a background, the party wasn't a personal party. It wasn't for like his birthday or anything. It was for the 60th anniversary of his party. And he said, well, you know, it just so happens that it falls within lockdown. You know, it is what it is. Let's celebrate. He kept it small, he kept it respectable. It was only 10 people that he invited. So it wasn't even like a whole big bash or anything. But upon reflection, Mr. Geingob has decided that, I shouldn't have done that. And I applaud him for that. I actually genuinely respect him for the fact that he came out and said, I had a mare. Like, looking at it now, we shouldn't have done that. And as a result, I'm fining everybody. I still can't believe you fined them. But that's exactly what you do. You rectify a wrong. We would love to see that same kind of honesty coming from leaders, not just on the continent, around the world. I am yet to see this level of honesty in the majority of world leaders. It just isn't there. Most of the time, what we get is they do something wrong and all they do is cover up, do sidestep, try and dodge the other question, go round about the houses, and then you never get an apology. It's so rare. I mean, I don't know, maybe it's just me. It's so rare for me to see that happening. I don't know, comment below and let me know whether I've missed an apology in the past. Like, maybe I've missed an apology, but I am yet to see that with my own two eyes. I ain't ever seen that. We should celebrate actions that we want to see more of. He's a human being. He's going to make mistakes. We accept that. But just be upfront with us. And he has rectified his wrong. He has fined everybody. I just hope that he fined himself as well, Sha. Other than that, Mr. Geingob, thank you for showing us what leadership looks like when we make mistakes. This next story is about Ethiopia's security forces, so their police and their military, using excessive force and evicting people from their houses and essentially violating human rights. Now, you guys have heard me talk about Ethiopia in the past as one of the beacons of hope on the continent. They are an example of how quickly things can turn around when you have a good leader. And I mentioned last week that Ethiopia's Prime Minister is an amazing example of a good leader. He has turned around Ethiopia in the space of 2 years. In that time, he has brought economic reform, political reform. He has brought peace between Ethiopia and its neighbor, Eritrea, and has even managed to bag himself a Nobel Peace Prize. I mean, Abiy Ahmed has done bits in just 2 years. He has really put Ethiopia on the map. People are talking about it. diasporans are returning. There's hope, and there's a buzz about Ethiopia that wasn't there before. So this current story doesn't take away from the things I have said in the past. I still stand by those things, but nobody is perfect. As our Namibian president has shown us, the current situation with regards to the brutality being inflicted on the Ethiopian people is one that we'll be watching closely, because the way the Prime Minister reacts and responds to the situation will be very telling as to what to expect from him in the future. The brutality that has been inflicted on the Ethiopian people by the security services was already happening before Abiy Ahmed came into power. So Amnesty International aren't necessarily saying it is him that has caused it, but rather he is responsible for rectifying it while he is in office. I mean, dude has only been there for 2 years, so let's give him some time. Having said that, the numbers are incredibly upsetting. 10,000 people have been forcibly displaced from their homes. We're seeing that houses and homes are being burnt down. So Amnesty International have also said that 39 people have been unlawfully executed. We know that when new leaders come into power, there's going to be some teething issues. There are going to be things that they haven't yet got around to sorting out or fixing. There's so many things to do that, where do you start? What's the most important thing? The issue is that as an Oromo himself, the Prime Minister of Ethiopia brought hope that change would come to his people. And they've waited for 2 years and they just feel like nothing is happening. So what has happened is that a guerrilla movement, the OLA, which was on Ethiopia's list of terrorists, but has been taken off since Abiy Ahmed came into power, has returned from exile, and they are adamant that they want to take back power. They want more autonomy for their people and are willing to fight for it, basically. So that has caused the tension that is brewing, and if this situation isn't taken seriously, if something isn't done soon, it could get worse. It could really tarnish the hard work that the Prime Minister of Ethiopia has already done. So we really hope that this is something that he gets to quickly. We are rooting for him. We want him to win, because if he wins, it is another example of what's possible for the continent. I think as Africans, we have to be patient with our leaders. I think that we have been patient for long enough. So a part of us feels that, we want to see change now. We want to see change yesterday. Like, y'all taking too long. So, but when a leader has shown us that they are committed to change, they are committed to making things better, as Abiy Ahmed has shown us, in such a situation, he has therefore bought himself more time. I think we have been too patient with bad leaders and been impatient with good leaders. And we need to swap that around. We need to stop waiting around for these bad leaders to change and have an epiphany or have a moment that everything changes and they become good people, and just be done with them. And with good leaders, we need to be more patient. When we see that they are doing a good job, we have to be patient that they will get to our own issue too. That at some point, they will find time for me and they will sort my problem out too. That's it from me today. I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. Please do let me know what you thought about the topics in the comment section. And if you can't wait all the way to next week to find out what's going on in the continent, follow us on Instagram, where we keep you guys posted. And if you haven't done so already, please do subscribe so you don't miss out on any other episodes. Until next week, stay safe. Bye. Vimoye is a people-led movement to build Africa, and we're starting with education. We want to improve the access to education for those on the continent, and we are taking a holistic approach to doing that. So we're not just looking for teachers, we're looking for people with so many different skills that can be a part of the building process. If that resonates with you in any way and you really want to be a part of actually changing the narrative of the continent, then please do get in touch with us. You can find us on Instagram using the @the Foundation. Together, I really do believe that we can build the Africa we've always known was possible.